John has tweeted us saying you're forgetting City played no one in the domestic cups. As soon as they played someone decent, Chelsea in the semi-final, they went out. Everton in the quarter-final away. Sorry, Everton no good all of a sudden.
Dear.
Nathan from Doncaster says we're talking rubbish. Man City do play weaker sides. I've just plucked a game at random. Swansea away in the FA Cup in February. Playing in the starting lineup for City that day were Raheem Sterling, Bernardo Silva, Gabriel Jesus, Rodri, Gundogan. Yep, some players. It was weak. Wouldn't it be better if you're just focusing on the Champions League and the Premier League? Wouldn't it be better just to play a really weak side to make sure you get out of that competition? But no, that's not the way they do things. I just said to you off air that actually in a couple of years' time, if they haven't won the Champions League, Pep might adopt that policy. He might actually say, I've had enough of the domestic cups. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to change my policy of wanting to win everything. It's all on the Champions League now.
Does he have to, though, with the amount of players he's got, Aid? Because he's financially backed and he's such a good coach and man manager, and he does. Each player in that team plays at least once a week, but don't they? And he manages them really, really well. And if you look at the start of the season, Torres was playing quite a bit, wasn't he?
Yep.
But as the season's gone on, he's not. He becomes a player. He does play in the cup competitions now. And he's not afraid to make a big call. To not have Aguero and not have Jesus in your starting 11 in your best team is a big call.
I think that's an important fact here. When people, and you're right, he is backed, there's no doubt about it, but most of the top clubs, they are backed. They do go out into the market and buy players if they're serious about winning stuff. But he didn't have a striker. Aguero wasn't fit. Gabriel Jesus wasn't necessarily firing. In January, if it was all about money for Pep Guardiola, would he not have said to Sheikh Mansour, go out there and get me a 60, 70, 80 million pound striker because Aguero's not fit? But he didn't say that. He said, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to win the Premier League. I'm going to try and win the Champions League without an orthodox striker. So far, so good.
Well, he did. Who did he play up top? I can't remember.
Liam Delap.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So he played him early season because his two strikers were injured. So he did play one of his own. And he played him a lot, didn't he? I think in the Carabao Cup. But when it came to the bigger games later on, he obviously didn't.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid to throw someone in. But when he's got the quality around, he signed basically Nathan Ake, didn't he, to play him in these sort of games. So he has signed players to play. Mendy's going to play in them games now. Ake is going to play in them games now. Torres is going to play in those games. Jesus is going to play in those games. And there's no doubt whatsoever he's going to go into the market and get another striker. We don't know who that be, whether it be Ings or whether it be someone where they do really blow 100 million plus, which I doubt it because it's not his style, is it?
No, it isn't. Max is a United fan. Wants to talk about City's title win. How you doing, Max?
Hi, mate. All right?
Yeah, real good. What do you want to say? We've lost Max. Let's go to Toby, an Arsenal fan. Toby, you're on talkSPORT. What do you want to say?
Hi, Adrian.
Hiya.
I hope you're well. First and foremost, I just want to congratulate City. I think they have been formidable this season. But I want to pick up on a point you made, which I think did lack a bit of logic. I think when you were trying to say Pep Guardiola didn't want to win the Champions League as his primary trophy, I mean, this is a guy that hasn't won the Champions League for 10 years. You can't tell me he didn't go into the season thinking, oh yeah, Champions League would be the best one out of all of them. And the fact is, as Darren says, they have the ability to switch it around. And even if they don't, I think Pep goes by the notion that playing more and winning gives you adrenaline. You don't get tired when you're constantly playing games and winning them. I think in this season that's been shown. Don't you agree?
Not necessarily, and I think the history of Pep Guardiola is he wants to win everything wherever he goes, and it doesn't come off all the time, as he found at Bayern Munich. Let me read you a tweet from a City fan, John. He says, been watching Man City since 1959. It's been superb to watch this football throughout lockdown. Winning the Premier League is always the most important. Getting to the Champions League final a bonus. Now that we're there, we can enjoy it, but it's not the be-all and end-all. I never said he doesn't want to win the Champions League. Of course he wants to win the Champions League. I mean, you've got to be an idiot to think he doesn't want to win the Champions League. But I genuinely believe that he would have felt like a failure if they hadn't won the Premier League this season, having not won it last season.
No, that's what I do agree with you. But I think he can win more than one trophy. And I think realistically with the squad he's got, you expect him to be competing in all the trophies because of the size of the squad. But my own personal thought on it, because of the start he got off to in management with the Champions League success with Barcelona, and people had talked about Pep and Messi and that golden team he had at Barcelona, which was great, one of the best ever, wasn't it? They wanted to see him go and do it somewhere else. He went to Bayern Munich. This is just a story. People know it. He went to Bayern Munich after they'd won the Champions League, because he took that year off, didn't he? And then they won it and they won everything. And then he played some unbelievable football at Bayern Munich. They brought some great footballers into the club. He couldn't win the Champions League. He's come to Manchester City with all the resources they've got and the quality of player they've got in their team, and he kept failing in the Champions League. And it is a failure for him not to get to the semi-final. Well, he got to the semis, but get to the final. Now he's there. He'll be desperate to win it, and you would expect him to be desperate to win it. But if he could win only one trophy, I honestly believe, Aid, he would have said, I want it to be the Champions League. That's not his mentality, but if he had to choose one at the start of the season, he would have said Champions League, because I've won everything else. I've won everything else with Manchester City.
Oh, right. I was going to say...
That was my point.
I think people are forgetting he has actually won the Champions League in the past. And not every manager wins it. He has won it. And yeah, I think
more than once.
He wants to win it again. And this will be his priority from now, having secured the Premier League title. Whatever you say, whatever you believe, whether you believe Goughie, the caller, me, whatever, the priority now is winning that game against Chelsea, wherever the final is going to be played. This is talkSPORT. Go on, City! Do you know what? They scored 102 goals last season, not winning the title. This season, with 3 games left, 72 goals. Anybody underwhelmed? I'm only joking. Only joking. They've been fantastic, haven't they? And I think that to be set a challenge, more or less, by Liverpool last season, because Liverpool won the title, they were superb. Liverpool have said to them, well, what have you got? And this is what Man City have got. They're champions with 3 games to spare, and Liverpool nowhere to be seen. They've been left for dead, haven't they?
Well, it's amazing. I think the thing is, I've just through there to a few people out there, is the amazing thing about it is, but there don't seem to be nobody really talking about Manchester City winning the title. Last year, everybody was going nuts, but Liverpool won, and it was job done with so many games to go when Liverpool had got it. And I think the reason probably is but it's an expectancy that Manchester City are probably going to win the title. They've dominated it. For the last 6, 7, 8 years, they've been the team that are most likely to win the title. At the start of the season, you're thinking, yeah, it's Manchester City's year.
Is that what you thought at the start of this season?
I thought it was between Liverpool and Manchester City. If you go back, though, how many times did I say, but I had a feeling this year, but Pep were going to do something special. You remember those conversations?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But
so
18 points ahead, Liverpool finished.
It's been a pretty special season for Pep.
Oh, absolutely. But how are City fans going to feel? And it's a genuine question, this. How are they going to feel if they lose the Champions League final to Chelsea? Yes, disappointment at losing the game. But does that mean that the season has been underwhelming? Or do you go back and say, yeah, but we won the title and we were brilliant, so...
He's taken the pressure off them brilliantly, and all the Manchester City fans believe it when he says, but the most important title is the league title. I think he has played it absolutely brilliant, Pep Guardiola, in all in his interviews. Deep down inside, I am convinced it's all about the Champions League for him now. He wants to win that. Of course he wants to win every trophy, but I think if he thought, if I could have one trophy this season, it would be the Champions League. And he's got that opportunity because his team is so good. He's a good manager, a fantastic manager, and this will be the one. And I think you'll see the delight if he goes and beats Chelsea in the final and they take that Champions League and he finally gets over it. Since when did he last win it? 2012, or 20? I can't remember exactly. With Barca, he's going to be over the moon, and I think it means so much to him, the Champions League.
See, we'll never agree on this, and I think you've got this one spectacularly wrong. I mean, for the start there, you've said something that Pep Guardiola would never say to himself. You kind of put words in his mouth, where you say, if he would say to himself, if I could have one trophy, it'd be the Champions League. He's never going to say that, because at the start of every season... I'm telling you why. Because at the start of every season, he wants to win every trophy.
How do you know? You're putting those words in his mouth.
No, I'm not. Because
you are, because you don't know.
Let me explain. Because you look at how he takes the League Cup and the FA Cup so seriously.
Because he can.
Well, he does, though.
He can, though,
yeah, but hang on a second. You're not listening. Just listen for a change, okay? Just for a second. Right, well, listen then. He takes those seriously, but he hasn't won the Champions League at Man City. So would he not by now have had a strategic rethink and think to himself, right, okay, I've proved myself in the FA Cup and the League Cup. I really want to win the Champions League. So I'm going to put out the kids in those, get out of those early, like Klopp did, and I'm going to focus on the Premier League and the Champions League. No, he doesn't. He doesn't do that. The evidence that we've got, we can't hear it from his words other than you ignoring what he says, which is that the Premier League is the most important to him, and you're completely dismissing that. What we have is the evidence of him picking strong teams for every single trophy he goes in for. He wants to win the lot. He doesn't just want to win one. He wants to win them all.
Well, of course he wants to win them all because that's the mentality of Pep Guardiola. I'm not doubting that. But I think the Champions League, he can play who he wants in these games. He's got such a big squad. You're forgetting the players that he's got to choose from in all these games. And you've seen throughout the year, he has made consistently 5, 6 changes nearly every game. Nobody can even predict what team is going to play. I think now we're getting to a point, and even then he still threw us in with picking Zinchenko in the second one. Nobody can predict, and he's the only manager you cannot predict which player he's going to play in the game because he's got so many players to choose between and he manages them, which he's great at in doing that. And that's why he's a fantastic manager. But I honestly believe he's desperate for the Champions League, and I think he'll go on and win it.
Right. Well, let's just put that to the test, shall we? Because in April, he played a Champions League game on Tuesday, the 6th of April, Premier League 10th of April, Champions League 14th of April, FA Cup 17th, Premier League 21st, EFL Cup final on the 25th, Champions League again on the 28th. Wouldn't it make life a whole lot easier if he got out of the League Cup in the third round, FA Cup in the third round? Then he'd have 3 weeks to prepare for Premier League and Champions League only. It isn't his mentality to just go for one thing. He wants to win the lot. So I think there'll be massive disappointment if they lose to Chelsea. Obviously, as a Champions League final, everybody's going to be disappointed. But I am convinced as I can be, that if they do lose, yes, there'll be disappointment, but ultimately he will reflect on an incredible title win this season after finishing so far behind Liverpool last season, dealing with things he's had to deal with. Let's not forget in December, I mean, I heard somebody yesterday, it wasn't on this station, somebody saying, oh, they've been dominant all season. No, they haven't. First 2 months of the season, they weren't particularly dominant at all.
Well, there were 12 points from 8 matches.
So they hadn't got it sorted at all. Nobody would have predicted City would win the league at the end of November.
No.
Middle of December, going into Christmas. They were some way off it. They hadn't sorted their defence out and didn't look like champions at all. How quickly he's turned that around. How has he done it?
Well, he's done it without strikers. Let's be fair to him as well. No Aguero, injury most of the season. Hardly any Jesus, who's played a few games, but not being his first choice. De Bruyne were injured at the start of the season. I think that was a big factor. And he changed the style of play. People talk about he went back into a more possession-based. You only have to look at some of the games early season. And normally you associate Pep's teams, don't you, with keeping the ball for around 70% of the match, don't you, against anybody. But up to, I think, end of November, that had not happened. And then he said he changed, didn't he, gradually in that game. And then he said the biggest change of all came in December when they played West Brom. I think it was a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1-1.
And that's when he said, right, that's it, I'm going back to what I know, and that's possession-based football. If this team, with a class of players we have got, keep the possession of football for over 70%, we will win most of the games. And they did. They went back, and for the next 6 games, they averaged 80% of possession in the game. 80% aid.
Incredible.
For football matches. And they went on that ridiculous run of winning game after game after game. 21 in all, but 15 in the Premier League. And that's why they've ended up winning the title, because nobody could touch him. And he's done it without an out-and-out goal scorer. Players who last season you would have expected to shine. I mean, Diaz obviously come to the club. He come in partnership with Stones. Them two together, right? Absolutely outstanding.
They didn't get together till the end of November, though.
Gundogan, although he played him a lot in the Champions League since he's been at the club, he was never really his out-and-out first choice, was he, in the Premier League side? But he's become a regular for him. Bernardo Silva playing a run of games. You wouldn't expect that. Sterling not in the starting 11 for a large part of it.
Out of favour, really.
Yeah, Foden coming into the team. Everybody expected at some point, but the amount of games he's played. And Mahrez, how good he has been for Manchester City. So he's done it really with a group of players who didn't do it the last time they won the title. That's what makes it special and proves, but he's an excellent coach. Yes, he's got the money to buy the best players, but he turns them into the best players. He turns them into better players, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's remarkable to not... No, it's not just not winning. To win every single game between the 19th of December and the 2nd of March. They won every single game in every competition. That is breathtaking. It is a remarkable title win. But how much of an impact will there be? And I'm not saying there won't be an impact. I think there will be if they don't win the Champions League final. How big will that impact be? Let's hear from you. And what exactly has he done this season to make it such a special title win?